And thinking back, how long have you been teaching Pilates for now?
I've been teaching for about 5 years now.
Yes. And what is your typical, I guess, clientele? Do you still work with a lot of dancers because you're still dancing, or are you helping all types of people from different backgrounds and activities too?
I work with a lot of different people. I see it's mostly women that I see. I'd love to see more men come in the studio, but women tend to be more attracted to Pilates. And most of them are I'd say in between 40 and 70 years old. It tends to be a little bit more middle-aged or older. And I've been actually kind of pushing for us to market to dancers because the company I work for does have a class that they offer, a program for teenage dancers. And I've been telling them if we can get some dancers in here, I'll teach that class.
Yes.
But so I'm hoping to eventually. I love working with teens.
Yes. And Pilates is very, very difficult. So, I don't think it's because men aren't attracted to it. It just might be extremely difficult for us to do Pilates or some of these things, but it's extremely beneficial, right? And it's good that you help all of these variety of people, different ages. And yes, hopefully one of these days you'll get more dancers in the studio and you can teach that class as well. I do want to touch on, so I'm not super versed in Pilates, to be honest. I do incorporate some of the basic concepts into my training with athletes, clients, and people like that. The core stability aspect is huge for me. But if you were to kind of explain a little bit about your philosophy, your approach, and for someone who maybe this is the first time that they're listening to anything about Pilates, if you were to explain it to them, simply like what are some of the benefits? What do you do? What would you tell someone about Pilates?
I would tell them it's a full body workout and it's focused on every muscle in the body. And it's not only focused on just getting a workout, but it's really focused on alignment. And one of the major focuses is to restore the neutral curves of the spine and work everything back into alignment toward the midline of the body. And so I'll have people come in who are like, oh, I'm a swimmer or I'm a runner. And I'll get them on the reformer, which is one of the main machines that we use. And I'll be like, oh, you gotta move move this foot here. And I'll be, just like giving them all these little tweaks because even the most athletic people, oftentimes there are muscles that we use more than others that can cause imbalances. So I see a lot of people who are very active and in shape who come in and they need all kinds of things, especially men, bodybuilders. They'll come in and they'll want, they'll ask me to put on extra weight for this one exercise. And I'll be like, actually, you need less weight because you need to work on your core and less up here because they're just hunched over they're hunched over.
Yes.
I just see a lot of, life does things to, we overcompensate, we undercompensate, we get little tweaks in our bodies, and Pilates is all about correcting that. So it is a way to work the whole body. It's definitely a great way to get in shape, but it's also meant to just bring us back to functionality, just gets us functioning again. And I know when I did my training, I didn't notice, I was already in shape, so I didn't notice it as much. But then I had my daughter and I took a little break from Pilates. I taught while I was pregnant, but then after I had her, I took a break, probably longer than I should have. But that's when I really started noticing the benefits of Pilates, because when I started doing Pilates again, I saw just how it put my body back together. I mean, in the beginning, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be the same. Am I going to be able to dance again? Will I be able to do the things I did before? I mean, I just had never felt so out of whack. And then I got back into, so I took about a year off from Pilates. And when I got back into it, it just put me back together and much quicker than I expected. And so I definitely, that's when I became a huge, even bigger advocate for Pilates. At first, it was just like, oh yeah, this would be a great career for me. I'd be good at this. And then after that, it was like, oh, wow, I really believe in this. And I think everyone should do this.
Yes. And probably learning and becoming an instructor that deepened your practice too, not only after you had your daughter, but, just deepen your understanding as to how can I incorporate some of this into my practice.